They told me that I was out of my mind for saying that XRP would shoot up tenfold, but guess what? I'm about to show you why I'm doubling down on that crazy claim. I was scrolling through crypto Twitter at 2 AM, as one does when they can't sleep, and I came across a heated thread. People were absolutely roasting this guy. Okay, that was me, but I'll get to that. For even suggesting that XRP could 10x from here. Now, the comments ranged from impossible dude to straight up laughing emojis. It got me thinking, have I gone mad, or is there something that they're just not seeing? Now, today, I'm going to take you on a personal journey through all of the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt flying around XRP. And I'll share why none of it has shaken my conviction. Here's a spoiler. I even found a quirky new crypto project to help boost my XRP stash, but more on that in a bit. So grab a seat. This is going to be one heck of a story, so stick around, because by the end of this, you might just see XRP and your own crypto strategy in a whole new light. Now, here's a quick shout out, right? If we we do actually have a free educational Discord server. The link is in the description down below. If you love learning and keeping and talking crypto with a friendly bunch of people, then come and join us. Now, the truth is, XRP has had a heck of a year. If you zoom out, and you'll kind of see that it's actually been on the best, it's one of the best performing assets of 2025. Yet, the louder XRP success grows, the louder that the FUD, the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt seems to become. And it's not just the usual Bitcoin maximalists throwing shade anymore. Lately, even people from other altcoin communities have been taking swipes at XRP. For example, a while back, a prominent Chainlink advocate literally went on record saying Chainlink is a better position to work with Swift than XRP. Kind of ouch, right? And just recently, we saw headlines insisting that the long-held narrative of XRP replacing Swift had collapsed because Swift announced it's developing its own blockchain system. Now, some people, that news was like, see, XRP is done for. And they basically kind of think if Swift has its own ledger, it won't ever need XRP. And on top of that, you even have analysts from within crypto saying things like, don't buy XRP right now. The risk-reward ratio is no longer favorable after, the run that it's had. Now, reading all of that, I won't lie, I had a moment of doubt. It's kind of like when, everyone tells you your favorite movie is trash. You start second-guessing your taste. Now, I thought, what if I'm the one who's actually missing something here, right? There was even a CEO from a crypto firm practically yelling that XRP had pumped too much already and that it's time to stay away. So you hear enough of that and you do start to wonder, am I being naive holding on to my XRP? Or are these people seeing red flags that I'm just simply blind to? But here's where things take just a bit of a turn, because instead of panicking and rage quitting my XRP position, I did what any stubborn crypto enthusiast would do. I dug even deeper and I questioned the narrative. I reminded myself why I got into XRP in the first place and how many times I've seen or kind of heard get it wrong before. So you know that old saying, right? If you're catching flack, then you're probably over the target. Now that's exactly how I started to kind of feel about all of this XRP skepticism. So if, at least if so many people are, spending their time tearing it down, then it might just mean that there's something truly significant about it. Let's think about it, right? Bitcoin went through years of being called a scam by mainstream media before becoming a household name. Ethereum was mocked for its world computer dreams until DeFi and NFT came along to kind of prove the concept. Now, XRP is no different. In fact, I've noticed a pattern. FUD is often strongest right before a major breakout. So, amid this storm of negativity, I kind of planted my flag. I went on X and basically said no amount of criticism or fear-mongering is going to change the fact, at least in my mind, that XRP will grow by at least 10x from here. Yeah, I said that publicly, and oh boy, the reactions poured in, right? Some people thought that I was insane. 10 times, are you serious? They shouted. But here is the kicker. I truly meant it. Now let's put some numbers on that bold claim. XRP is hovering around $3 right now. A 10x from here would put it just around the kind of $30 per coin, giving it a market cap in the ballpark figure of about $1.7 trillion. And yes, that was with a T. Now that would make XRP nearly as valuable as some of the biggest companies on the planet. Sounds crazy, right? It's no wonder that a lot of people rolled their eyes at me. Now, I know what you're thinking, dude, $30 XRP? That sounds like pure hopium. And hey, I get it, right? $30 is a big, bold target. But I'm not the only one throwing that number around, right? Just last month, market analyst named 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗠𝗠𝗘, looked at XRP's charts and said something like, if a certain Elliott wave pattern plays out, that XRP could hit between $8 and $30. And he's not some random moonboy. He had a whole technical breakdown behind it. Another respected figure, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, murdering your name, I apologize. I just have 2 teeth taken out, so I'm struggling a little bit. Anyway, Armando suggested in March that a 10x surge from XRP was possible as well. Not overnight, mind you, but coming soon. So, when I say 10x, I'm not pulling it out of thin air either. There are some real analysts and data backing up that kind of bullish outlook. Now, let's sprinkle in some reality. A $30 XRP isn't going to happen just because I tweeted it into existence, right? I'm optimistic, but I'm not delusional. Now, there are going to be some hurdles and some unknowns that are out there. Overall market conditions, regulatory twists and turns. How fast adoption actually happens, you name it, right? Now, I'm bullish, but I also know that nothing is guaranteed in crypto. And that, my friends, is the perfect cue for me to drop a much needed disclaimer. Amen. Now, this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, deep breath. I hope that you paid attention to that because it is rather important. Now, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program, the grand 10x XRP vision. So after putting that prediction out into the world, I did have to ask myself, okay, loudmouth, what makes you so confident? Fair question, right? Well, for me, it boils down to a few key points. First off, right, real-world utility. XRP isn't just some meme token. It was designed to move value across borders fast and cheap. And it's actually doing that today in various parts of the world. Banks and fintechs are testing or already using Ripple's ODL, this is on-demand liquidity that's now Ripple payments, which, uses XRP to facilitate the cross-border payments. If SWIFT, the 800-pound gorilla of international transfers, is now building a blockchain-based system, that doesn't basically just validate the very space that XRP has been operating in all along, right? SWIFT is essentially waking up after decades of doing things the old way, realizing that blockchain might actually be the future of global payments. Now, in a weird way, SWIFT's move into blockchain might underline the importance of what XRP and Ripple have been championing from the start. And remember, in the vast world of finance, there's room for more than one solution. This is not a zero-sum game of technology where Swift's tech and XRP's tech cannot coexist. They actually can complement each other or serve different niches of the market. Secondly, community and institutional interest, right? The XRP community, often kind of proudly dubbed the XRP Army, is one of the most passionate and resilient in all of crypto. Now, these people, maybe you people also watching, have stuck with XRP through thick and thin, and outright absurd times. Now, that counts for something. But it's also not just die-hard retail holders anymore. We're seeing signs of serious institutional interest in XRP. I've heard chatter about banks, hedge funds, even payment companies quietly accumulating XRP or at least exploring its use cases. And here's the big factor, right? Supply dynamics. A ton of XRP is locked up or held by entities like Ripple and its executives, or it's sitting in long-term holders' wallets. The amount of XRP actually kind of circulating and liquid on exchanges is significantly smaller than the total supply. So if suddenly a whole new wave of demand hits, let's say a bunch of institutions or new mainstream use cases, buying a frenzy could cause a buying frenzy, and there could be an XRP supply shock, right? We've spoken about this a number of times. Now that means that there wouldn't necessarily be enough XRP available at the current prices to meet all of the demand, so the price would have to adjust upwards, potentially very sharply. So you balance all of these things out. Now, I personally think that a supply shock is inevitable at some point given the way that things are going right now. In other words, I believe that it's not an if, but a when. Now, all of this excitement and optimism doesn't mean that I'm telling you to go out and remortgage your house for XRP. Absolutely not. I just share what I believe and what I am doing. But I've got to do what's right for you guys too, right? Or at least you've got to do what's right for you. Now, in fact, one of the kind of reasons that I run this channel is to share this kind of information and tools so that you can make your own informed decisions. Speaking of which, let me drop a quick and important reminder. If you haven't already, consider joining our free educational Discord server. The link is in the description. It's a great place to learn, to ask questions, and to get insights from the whole community of crypto enthusiasts. We're all figuring this stuff out together, and having a community can really help you separate the real signals from all of the noise. Also, full transparency here, I mentioned platforms or projects that I use personally, and some of those are affiliate links that are in the description that if you do sign up to them and trade through them, then it does support the channel at no extra cost to you. Now, for instance, I do trade a lot on 𝗕𝗘𝗪 and 𝗕𝗏𝗪 quite regularly, and they've been pretty solid exchanges for me with good security and low fees. So if you're in the market for a new exchange to try out, then I've placed affiliate links for 𝗕𝗏𝗪 and 𝗕𝗘𝗪 down in the description. Should you use them, then it does directly support this channel here, and I do greatly appreciate that. Of course, though, there is no pressure. You've got to use what you are comfortable with and always vet any platform for yourself. All right, plug over. Let's get back to the story. Right, here is kind of where things get more interesting, where my XRP conviction actually led me down a path that I didn't expect. While holding XRP and keeping an eye on the news is one thing, right? I'm always looking for ways to level up my crypto game, and that is when I stumbled onto something called Unity. Now think of this as the unexpected plot twist in my crypto journey. It all started with some whispers about a project that supposedly lets you turn your smartphone into part of a decentralized network to earn crypto from it. Naturally, my reaction was, wait, what? Earn crypto from a phone that I already own? Do tell me more. So I did a little digging, and Unity Nodes turned out to be a community-driven project where basically anyone can use their phone to help verify the global telecoms network, and you get paid in crypto for doing it. Now, it sounds pretty wild, but stick with me here, and I'll explain. It's actually pretty straightforward in concept. So here's the simple rundown. You install the Unity app on your phone. That app is basically dialing a special number occasionally, and it's all automated. It doesn't cost you any minutes or anything crazy to perform what is essentially a network health check. Now, each time your kind of phone makes a call, it's kind of like asking, hey, cell network, is everything good over here? And if it finds an issue, like coverage dead zones or dropped call scenarios, that information gets recorded and hashed onto a blockchain for transparency. Now, this provides verifiable proof of telecoms network integrity or issues that carriers can use to improve their systems. And for providing this service, for being a tiny, decentralized piece of the global telecoms monitoring puzzle, you earn some crypto rewards. Pretty cool part, right? Now, at least the cool part, I should say, is that you can choose which cryptocurrencies that you want to be paid in, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, and yes, XRP. Now, why are people, including myself, excited about this because it's actually quite a novel way to earn passive income in crypto without needing expensive mining rigs or technical know-how, right? If you've got an old smartphone sitting in a drawer, Unity lets you put it to work. It's also bridging two worlds here, telecommunications and blockchain. As someone who's kind of fascinated by all the real world intersections with crypto, I found that concept kind of super cool. This isn't your just another yield farming on some kind of DeFi platform like XRP or something like that, or running a node maybe for a crypto that you barely actually interact with. No, it's actually contributing to something tangible. Your phone is literally helping secure calls go through the network and stay healthy, and make sure that the networks stay healthy, and getting paid for doing some jobs. A lot of people in crypto community have been talking about this in a way to kind of stack sats or stack ADA or stack XRP on the side. So I figure, why not give it a shot? So I went for it. I purchased a Unity node, which came with 200 licenses for myself, and I got down to testing. Well, not yet, because the Unity app isn't actually live just yet, but you can see preparations are underway, right? Now, each Unity node purchase, it comes with a whole bunch of licenses that you can use on multiple devices. Think of licenses as access keys to use on your phone. Now, I'm going to start out by setting up Unity app on 10 smartphones that will have this kind of dedicated or be dedicated to this little experiment of mine. Don't judge me here. This is just me being a bit of a tech nerd. And I had some old phones that I was looking at on eBay. I sourced them and, they're relatively cheap. We'll see if they all play out, right? Anyway, I'm going to feel like a bit of a mad scientist lining up the 10 phones over here on the desk, all running this app. And when, they start making their verification calls one after the other, I'm going to be or at least I'm not going to lie, I'm going to have a big grin on my face, hopefully, depending on all this tooth nonsense. But anyway, it will feel like I'm running my own little mini telecoms testing lab, a bit of nerd heaven. Now, the best part for me, I decided to receive my Unity rewards in XRP, Cardano, as ADA, and of course Bitcoin. So that every successful verification call that those phones make, will have little yields of XRP that I can withdraw and add to my stack. Now, in essence, I'm passively building my XRP position further on top of wherever I actually regularly buy or trade. How awesome is that, right? It's kind of like having a small army of devices all working together to earn me my favorite crypto. Now, I've literally set up an XRP gathering side hustle on my home office or in my home office. It's pretty crazy. Now, let me kind of temper the excitement with some reality checks though. You know that I always will, right? First, getting into Unity isn't free, right? The node itself costs a few $1,000s. So they only have a limited number of the node slots available as well. So it's somewhat exclusive by design. Now, with that node, that NFT node license or Unity node, I do get 200 device licenses, which is way more than my 10 phones, at least that I have room to expand if I do want to, right? Second thing here is that to actually run these devices, you purchase a small monthly credit for each one. Now, you've got to talk a couple of bucks per phone, which covers the cost of all of those calls on your phones that you are making. Now, it's not going to break the bank, but it's not zero cost either. And third, right, like any project, success is not guaranteed. Maybe over time, the rewards decrease if too many people do join. Maybe the telecoms data turns out less valuable than maybe expected. Who knows? Right? This is an experiment and I'm testing it as such, right? But please do your own research before considering something like this, right? I've put the Unity link in the description down below. They do have a rewards calculator on their website too, so that you can play with the numbers yourself. You can just go check it out, read the light paper and see if it aligns with your own risk appetite. For me, the decision was more about just the potential rewards, right? It was actually about being part of something innovative and, frankly, pretty futuristic. I mean, how cool is it that I can participate in strengthening a global telecoms network right from my own office and earn crypto while doing it. Now, this is the kind of stuff that gets me out of bed in the morning, right? It reminds me that crypto isn't just about charts and price predictions. It's actually a whole world of new technologies and communities forming right before our eyes. And sometimes being involved in these little cutting edge projects gives you a perspective that price alone never will. Now, bringing it all back to XRP, since that's the thread kind of connecting everything together here, my foray into Unity, actually kind of reinforces why I believe in the crypto space and XRP so much. It showed me that even while people are arguing on Twitter about whether XRP will replace Swift or whether it will hit $30 or not, there are teams of builders and enthusiasts out here kind of expanding what is even possible. XRP's role as a bridge currency in global finance is part of this bigger picture of innovation. Projects like Unity, which intersect with XRP by allowing rewards in XRP, highlight how diverse and interconnected this whole ecosystem is becoming. It's not just about one coin or one use case. It's about the convergence of technology to create new opportunities. So, after all of this, the social media drama, the personal experiments, the late night research rabbit holes, what have I learned? Well, I've learned that conviction in crypto, at least in the crypto world, isn't just about plugging your ears and yelling, "I'm right." Conviction is actually built by continuously educating yourself, testing your hypotheses, and being open to new ideas while staying true to your core beliefs. Now, my core belief is that XRP has a critical role to play in the future of finance. Maybe it's facilitating cross-border payments for banks and remittances. Maybe it's providing liquidity for CBDCs or other digital asset exchanges. Maybe it's something that we just haven't even imagined yet. The point is, I see a future where XRP, one where it's far more valuable than it is today. Are there always going to be the naysayers? You probably bet that there will be, right? When XRP was 40 cents, many said that it would never hit $1. When it broke $1, they said, okay, but it will never go back to all-time highs. Then it hit $2. Now it's around $3. And those very same voices are scoffing at $10 or $30 forecasts, right? There's a kind of funny pattern there, isn't there, right? Today's impossible tends to become tomorrow's, well, maybe, and eventually yesterday's news. Now, I'm not guaranteeing $30 XRP. I'm just saying don't be surprised if it eventually does get there, because stranger things have happened in crypto and far beyond. So if you take one thing away from my story today, let it be this. Don't let the loudest voices in the room automatically dictate what you do. Skepticism is healthy, right? Nerd mentality is not, right? So you got to do your own research from your own opinions. Now for me, that meant sticking with XRP even when it was unpopular and also embracing new ideas like Unity that aligned with my goals. For you, it could mean something rather different, and that is totally fine. At the end of the day, I'm not here to make you an XRP, envision list, right? Or to push you into any particular project. I'm just here to share why I'm doing the things that I am doing, right? Now, if my reasoning resonates with you, awesome. Use it as a kind of starting point for your own research. And if you completely disagree and think I'm crazy, guess what? That's fine too. Maybe you should share your own perspective with me, civilly of course, in the comments or down in the Discord server, and I might learn something from you. This is a two-way street. Now I'm learning every single day, just like you. Now, if you've enjoyed coming along on this little adventure with me, from battling the FUD to tinkering with my fleet of XRP earning phones, then do me an absolute solid favor by smashing that like button, hitting the subscribe button, because it's the best way to keep this journey going. I've got plenty more stories, experiments, and insights to share, and I'd love for you all to be there for it. So thanks for watching, stay curious, stay bold, and I'll catch you in the next one.